Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to the George Benson Football Channel for the progression video from yesterday's video, which was titled Roman Abramovich is selling Chelsea Football Club. I posted that video before the news was confirmed because, well, I think we all thought it was pretty obvious. If you haven't watched that video, I kind of go into a bit more of my reasons behind why I actually agree, despite not being entirely happy with the sale from Abramovich of Chelsea. The reason I agree is because I think there are just absolutely no ways in which he can keep hold of the club without there being so many moral and ethical questions. But at the same time, also, if there are going to be sanctions from the UK, it's going to make it almost impossible for Abramovich, even though he's used to not being allowed inside the bridge or even to come to London. There's going to be so many things that just make it so difficult. So I think for the benefit of everybody, it's the best thing that he's selling the club. Now, there has been progressions in the sense of there is the guy from Switzerland who is looking to potentially buy Chelsea or was supposedly offered Chelsea Football Club by Abramovich. He would be buying it as part of a consortium, which I want to talk a little bit as this video progresses about why the idea of a consortium makes me a bit nervous. Why, as Chelsea fans, we should be potentially concerned if that is the route in which the club goes down. But as I said in yesterday's video, if we can separate the Roman Abramovich, who all of the world is questioning right now as to what he's been doing, and the football club owner, I think what Roman Abramovich has since come out and said has been absolutely just testament to just how great of a football owner Roman Abramovich truly is. Now I'm going to get the Chelsea statement up and we're going to take a little read at exactly what was said from Abramovich, because when we bring it back to the first statement from last weekend before the cup final, the whole idea of stewardship and a charitable foundation taking care of Chelsea Football Club was kind of void of any kind of progress on the legalities of the situation, because if we knew that he wasn't necessarily going to be able to remain the owner, handing over stewardship seems like a good idea, but it's only a good idea for him, because those who have to accept that role then take on the liability of so many things that Abramovich would be leaving in his wake. Since then, it's only Wednesday or Thursday when you watch this video, and Roman Abramovich hasn't let this fester. He's not spent the whole week trying to say, like, how can I save my asset? How can I not lose any money? How can I try and escape or avoid sanctions from the UK, which is something that he has avoided in the past when it's been heavily threatened. So Roman Abramovich kind of knows that with the severity of the situation as it is right now, and with his undeniable involvement in whichever way you want to place that, he knows that there's really no way he can keep hold of Chelsea. So the statement says, I would like to address the speculation in the media over the past few days in relation to my ownership of Chelsea. So immediately, he's wanting to get rid of this whole, what does this stewardship, charitable foundation take care? What does all of this mean? He's talking here about ownership, which is who has the equity of Chelsea FC. As I've stated before, I've always taken decisions with the club's best interest at heart. This is something that absolutely nobody can deny. When it comes to the running of Chelsea Football Club, 21 trophies in 19 years is absolutely outrageous. And I want to spend a moment, without going any further in this statement, I want to spend a moment to just get you guys' attention about just how lucky we have been and how the current ongoing of all of this news just makes me feel so lucky for what has already been in my lifetime as a Chelsea fan. I'm 27 years old. I was 9 years old when Roman Abramovich took over. And since then, I've seen us win everything there is to win, which as a football fan, a blessing. It is something that we on this channel are so fortunate. I'm fortunate to experience it with you since I made these videos, but remembering back to all of these trophies we've won is going to be something that I carry with me for the rest of my life. So no matter who as opposing fans, the majority are the ones coming at me right now for even thanking Abramovich for what he's done. I think it's ludicrous. I think it's such a narrow-minded mindset. So we've got to feel lucky. We've got to feel blessed and thankful for what has undoubtedly been enabled as a result of Roman Abramovich's presence at our football club. In the current situation, I have therefore taken the decision to sell the club, as I believe this is in the best interest of the club, the fans and employees, as well as the club's sponsors and partners. We've got to remember here, no matter what we want to believe about football clubs being run as businesses, they're businesses. They're not just multi-million pound businesses, they are multi-billion pound businesses. When Roman Abramovich took over at Chelsea, we were worth just over 100 million. Now, we have become one of the most prized assets in sport. We have become one of the most successful team in England in the last 19 years. That is Chelsea Football Club. So what Abramovich has done has taken Chelsea from being a club that still won things, contrary to common sarcastic comedic belief, a club that still won stuff, to a club who have actually won everything. I keep stressing this because if Chelsea were to cease to exist as a result of this whole thing, which isn't going to happen, but if that was the case, at least we'd have bloody won everything and hadn't been 15 years without a trophy. The sale of the club will not be fast-tracked, but will follow due process. What this means to me is that Roman Abramovich isn't just going to accept any old offer. And the fact that as we go through this statement as well, he says that I will not be asking for any of the loans to be repaid. The moment I read this is the big turning point here, because if Roman Abramovich was trying to sell quickly, yet was not so, let's just say, lenient to the point where he's willing to just totally disregard the £1.5 billion loan, this is unheard of. This is just absolute proof that Roman Abramovich, when it comes to Chelsea, has not necessarily been about making money, making profits, taking away more. He is wiping out a loan, guys. Like, I'm not going to spend my whole time here defending him because there is still a war going on. There is still a moral, ethical issue to focus on here, but you still want to come at me for that? I please implore you to watch the video I posted yesterday where I posed the idea of separating, if we can, this idea of Abramovich as an owner. And at the moment, this is the biggest news in football, is that Roman Abramovich is selling Chelsea. Real great thing about this loan being wiped out is that when a new owner comes in, they don't have to spend what could have been on top of what Abramovich wants for the sale of Chelsea. There would have also been that whole thing where suddenly 1.5 billion needs to be wiped out just to cater for what Abramovich has lost as a result of being Chelsea owner, which undoubtedly would have had even more severe negative impacts on Chelsea's ability to keep spending the kind of money, whether we have someone as rich as Abramovich or not as rich as Abramovich or not. It would have heavily affected spending from Chelsea Football Club for many years. I believe personally, and obviously as things develop with who it is who's going to take over at Chelsea, we'll know more about whether or not our spending power is going to be even close to what it's been like over the past 19 years. I highly doubt that it will be. I believe there will be a serious point of stability now within the club where we look at what we've been spending, we realise that, okay, we don't have Mr. Abramovich's money anymore. We've spent a lot of money that has been wasted. Yeah, we've spent a lot on success. We've fired managers, bought in players and won trophies. Yes, undeniable, granted. However, as a result of this new ownership, Chelsea will need to stabilise the club. We have been experiencing 19 years of success, in the process of which we built an academy which we can now rely heavily on bringing players who are good enough to be Champions League, Premier League contesting quality. Maybe we could argue that we're still a bit far away from Liverpool and City and we need more, but it's still top level players coming through. And we've also spent a fortune in the last few years on rebuilding a squad that needed to be rebuilt when you lose a spine of Cech, Terry, Lampard, Drogba, Ashley Cole. These guys, you know, we've had to spend big in order to remain competitive with Klopp's Liverpool, Guardiola's City, with the faltering giants of Real Madrid, Barcelona. Capitalise, which is what Chelsea have done, which is what the rest of English football have done. Looking forward and being progressive, my concerns now are the consortium that it will probably inevitably be. How many people are involved? What are their core interests as to what they want from Chelsea, which unfortunately we're probably going to have to get used to the fact that whoever takes over, there is going to be a lot more of a focus on making money than there ever was under Roman Abramovich, which is going to be the biggest thing for Chelsea fans to get used to. We've spent years listening to the heartbreak that Arsenal fans have experienced from Stan Kroenke and the Kroenkes being at the club and them feeling like where they should be, where their past has been, they're not there because the investment's not been right, because that football sense hasn't been at the forefront of the mind of the people making the decisions, which it always has been at Chelsea. It's been about winning, and keep making Chelsea Football Club the powerhouse that we now are, which is why, not only for the moral, ethical stance of Russian oligarchs owning football clubs now selling, it's a big story right now because it's Chelsea also. So we've got to remember that whoever comes in, we could be left in a position, we are dissatisfied with where we believe the people who own our club are directing us. We've got to be ready for this. As things develop and as news comes in as to who it's going to be who takes over, we can talk about this in a lot more detail. We can speculate. We can look at what these people have to say as to why they want to buy Chelsea Football Club. It's a very interesting time at the club right now because I don't believe we can get somebody as football minded and as Chelsea minded as Roman Abramovich has been. So the more I look through the statement, we're going to go through a little bit more now. The foundation that he's going to set up, he's instructed my team to set up a charitable foundation where all net proceeds from the sale will be donated. The foundation will be for the benefit of all victims of the war in Ukraine. There are too many people here that are looking at this as just a simple way to save face. And this kind of mentality goes beyond football. This is the kind of mentality where even if someone has done something or many things that are just fundamentally wrong, yet as long as there is full truth in this statement from Mr. Abramovich, we've got to look at this and praise it, because there's no way on this earth, as Chelsea fans or any football fan could have envisaged, that not only would Abramovich wipe the debts, but in the process of being Russian and being involved with Putin, with the Kremlin, yet still within this statement he is outrightly saying that his intentions are to support Ukrainians, to support Ukraine. Roman Abramovich, whatever he's done in the past, he's going out on a limb here to try and do the best with the situation that he's in. And yeah, you could say that he could have foreshadowed this, and he probably at one stage would have known this was coming. But that's politics, and I'm here to talk about the football. And this statement right here, to me, is proof in a footballing sense, which for this channel at least, this is what I do. I talk about the football. I try not to talk about the politics. Unfortunately, these days, I've got no bloody choice because it's intertwined and I have to. But he finishes the statement by saying obviously how difficult of a decision it was, which is kind of obvious, but I hope that I'll be able to visit Stamford Bridge one last time to say goodbye to all of you in person. It's been a privilege of a lifetime to be a part of Chelsea FC, and I'm proud of all of our joint achievements. Chelsea Football Club and its supporters will always be in my heart. Now, as the biggest chapter in my life, 19 years in a footballing sense, this is a monumental moment. Whether that word monumental to you means something good or bad, this is one of the biggest moments in Chelsea history. When he took over, it was the biggest moment in Chelsea history. When we had that summer when he first came in, when we appointed Jose Mourinho, these were the biggest moments in our history. Now, it is the biggest moment in our history up until this point. And the reason I want to conclude this video with a progressive look at what Chelsea can do, we have got the best manager right now that we could possibly have at our club. You can argue whether he's the best in the world or not, but he's European champion, Super Cup winner, FA Cup finalist, now FA Cup quarter-finalist, League Cup finalist, Club World Cup winner, Thomas Tuchel at charge at Chelsea right now. The Roman Abramovich era has been so intense of hire, fire, win, 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 win. No matter what we think in the moment, whether it's sadness for a manager leaving or not, Chelsea have been serial winners. now could be the time where whoever takes over at the club might either just continue down that path and be very, very erratic in their decision making with sacking Thomas Tuchel if it all goes a bit south. But as a Chelsea fan, I've always wanted to have a manager with a dynasty at the club, whether that is just the romantic football inside of me, who's jealous a bit of Man United and Sir Alex Ferguson, or the pre-Wenger collapse Arsenal. You know, there is a bit of jealousy in there from me for that. And I've always wanted to have a manager who we see as being like a proper Chelsea manager, because he's been there for so long, through thick and thin. This is going to be a very, very tough period for the club. And as a custodian himself, Thomas Tuchel, is a man who has outrightly come out and said that he loves being Chelsea manager. He is honoured to be the manager of our club. I pray that whatever happens now with the club, we see this man as our manager and we continue to back him, whether that is financially or understanding that expectations will need to change as a result of this ownership change. A lot is going to change. And also from the academy side too, where over the course of the last few years, since the transfer ban in particular, the academy and the work that Abramovich put into that academy has been so evident for all to see. And even in the FA Cup game, I'm recording this just after I do the 6 things we learned, to be honest. So in tonight's game for me, yesterday's game for you lot, Harvey Vale coming off the bench when we're losing is a sign of the quality that we have got to look forward to still come through from the work that's already been done. And I just hope, not that anybody who's going to buy our club is going to watch this video, but I just hope that whoever comes in can see the incredible structure that's been built here at Chelsea. The winning formula, the current manager and how great he is, the academy players and how brilliant they've been to galvanise Chelsea in recent times. I just hope that whoever comes in can carry the mantle forward in this sense, to keep giving us the Chelsea that has been so successful, but to not take the identity away. It's been an amazing 19 years. I'm not talking as if like Chelsea Football Club are over, don't get me wrong, but just as a thank you really for the success in a footballing sense. It's been amazing, and I just hope that whatever we get now is going to continue that, but also be ready, because it might not be exactly the same. So yeah, that is my roundup of the current news. As things progress, of course, I will talk about it, give my opinions and thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments down below. Thank you so much for watching. Come on, you Blues.